We got this massive bombshell from Tulsi, and she's finally doing what we've heard might be coming. Tulsi is free. She's leaving the office of ODNI to take care of her husband. There's been a lot of speculation on why she's really leaving. That's been put out there for a while. And I'll tell you what, if she wasn't on our side, we wouldn't be getting these drops. If she was deep state, she wouldn't be dropping stuff like this. This morning, she finally gave us some of the beginnings of what we hope is much more to come in the next couple weeks as she makes her way out. But listen to what Tulsi has got for us this morning.
After months of searching through intelligence community holdings and files, today I'm releasing new evidence of long-standing U.S. government funding of more than 120 biolabs in over 30 countries. Now, these biolabs include labs in places like Ukraine, which could be at risk of compromise due to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. In fact, the intelligence community had previously warned that a U.S.-funded biolab in...
Hold on, real quick. Let's go back to that. This is exactly what many people said Russia went into Ukraine for.
Biolabs in over 30 countries. Now, these biolabs include labs in places like Ukraine.
She specifically mentions Ukraine. Isn't that interesting?
Which could be at risk of compromise due to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. In fact, the intelligence community had previously warned that a U.S.-funded biolab in Ukraine likely housed dangerous pathogens and remained vulnerable to long-standing threats of Russian attack, seizure, or damage. Now, until now, evidence regarding the full existence and funding of these laboratories had been knowingly withheld from you, the American people. Many of these U.S. government-funded biolabs are currently or have previously engaged in research using hazardous and highly contagious pathogens, and in some cases included dangerous gain-of-function research with very little visibility or oversight. Now, President Trump clearly understands the serious threat dangerous gain-of-function research poses to the American people. And this is why he took decisive action over a year ago. On May 25th, 2025, he signed an executive order to end federal funding of gain-of-function research around the world. Here at ODNI, I issued new guidance to the intelligence community directing increased collection on these laboratories and facilities overseas. And we're already seeing the results of this increased collection. We're learning new details, for example, on clinical trials that are underway at these facilities and that are raising significant ethical, financial, and security concerns regarding the supposed public health initiatives and U.S. national security. Now, despite the obvious potential for catastrophic global impact that research on dangerous pathogens in biolabs can have, politicians and so-called health professionals like Dr. Fauci, as well as entities within the Biden administration's national security team, lied repeatedly to the American people about the existence of U.S.-funded and supported biolabs.
Wow.
Not only did they lie, they threatened those who attempted to expose the truth. So this release today breaks new ground, as the information surrounding the existence, history, locations, and funding of these U.S.-funded biolabs has been intentionally covered up by very powerful people who falsely claimed that these biolabs didn't exist. Now, they accuse anyone who says otherwise to be foreign assets and traitors to America. Now, ODNI will continue working closely with partners across the U.S. government to identify exactly where these labs are and what pathogens they contain to end dangerous gain-of-function research that threatens the health and well-being of the American people and people around the world.
Holy smokes. My friends, that is a shot across the bow. Naming Ukraine, this is ODNI, right? National Intelligence. Very, very specific on and target about who she names. And the specific names we get, Ukraine and Fauci, that's not an accident. That's where they want us focused. All of this happening right now as we're about to sign a deal with Iran, as the EU is trying to keep Ukraine in the fight with Russia. Holy smokes. The day this House passed more money for Ukraine. It's still being debated in the Senate. All of this happening as we're thinking about this. This makes it like almost impossible for them to justify sending more money to Ukraine. It's wild. So let's look at some of the things, like a couple good breakdowns here. This declassified intelligence analysis released under Gabbard examines concerns with cooperative threat reduction, biological threat reduction programs supported laboratories in Ukraine. Now, back in 2022, when Trump was out of office and Putin went into Ukraine, many people speculated that Putin, with Trump out of office, was doing what it took to prevent World War III, to prevent an outbreak that the City of London, EU, globalists wanted to send out from Ukraine. For those who don't know, Ukraine, even the New York Times in 2019 called Ukraine the most corrupt nation on earth. Since 2014, when it was when Obama and Biden ran a color revolution in Ukraine to take it over for the deep state, it has been used for trafficking, money laundering, and biolabs, among other things. And now the biolabs is 100% confirmed. This is massive, and it does give Russia much more validation for going in. This focuses on the Institute of Experimental and Clinical Vet Medicine in Kharkiv, noting the facility likely holds dangerous pathogens. Conducted research on diagnostics and vaccines had documented biosafety deficiencies as recently as 2019 and maintains historical connections to Soviet bio-warfare efforts. You guys wonder where the real Soviet Union hid? The real, or what's left of it, the real Nazis, which we already know, they're all in Ukraine. The report states the lab was ordered to destroy pathogen holdings after Russia's invasion. Why? Why would they want to destroy it after Russia's invasion? Because the Russians could have grabbed it and exposed it to the world. Highlights its basement level, directly aligning confirming Russian accusations of secret work there, and assesses it as an ongoing target and potential military action seizure. Russia accused U.S. of biological weapons work at the site. Tulsi Gabbard just confirmed it. What's significant is that for years, Russian claims about U.S. biolabs in Ukraine were widely dismissed by Western governments and the media as baseless disinformation. This vindicates Russia, I should say. Now, he says, is this what they planned for us? We built and funded over 40 labs in Ukraine. 40 labs. Anthrax, Ebola, Marburg, plague, Lassa, MERS, SARS, tularemia, tuberculosis, and others. U.S. scientists trained the Ukrainian staff to work with these high-risk pathogens. Many labs operate at high biosafety levels used for the most dangerous diseases. A map in the document shows lab locations across Ukraine, including Kharkiv, Odessa, and others. Some cost over $3 million. That goes a long way in Ukraine, folks. Several labs received official permits to work with especially dangerous pathogens. This document confirms U.S. directly built and paid for dozens of labs, storing some of the world's most dangerous pathogens with millions of taxpayer dollars. Heads need to roll. So what Tulsi just confirmed is insane, guys. It's absolutely insane. This is massive exposure of City of London, Davos, deep state, what they were doing. And again, it's just more proof that, try to be somebody who says COVID wasn't born in a lab at this point, especially after today. Try to be that person. Try to say like we're not trying to control things. What about the nonstop attempts at getting another pandemic out there? Whether it's hantavirus, which they just tried, or bird flu, avian flu, they're always pushing new things. Where do you think it's coming from? This is absolutely wild. Here's some of the U.S. government agencies and contractors listed: Black & Veatch, CDC, USDA, U.S. universities and research institutions. Florida, Tennessee, Kansas State, New Mexico, Alaska, Anchorage, JGI, other partners, Helmholtz, Center for Environmental Research, Orion, Satoso, OIC, Ukrainian entities, various of them. There are others. This is described as a small sampling. So these are the documents starting to jump out. Man, absolutely wild. What else have we been saved for? What? This is going to mess with some people. What did Russia going into Ukraine in 2022 save us from? That's a good question, isn't it? That's a good question. Has Putin just been working with us the whole time? So Tulsi just dropped all this. I'm sure there's going to be much more coming out as people go through these documents and post it. Remember, this just came out. And so it's very new. More to come. But Tulsi has gotten the ball rolling. And hopefully this is just the beginning. There's a lot of speculation that she's going to end with a bang with the election data. Now that would be a lot of fun, wouldn't it? So with Tulsi doing this, we have Trump announcing her new official replacement. So remember, Bill Pulte starts next Tuesday as the acting ODNI. But now Trump has gotten an official nomination that could actually get through. However, it's interesting. He didn't nominate this person to be acting. So Pulte will still have a little time there. But listen to this. I'm pleased to announce the nomination of very highly respected Jay Clayton, former chairman of SEC, former head of Sullivan Cromwell, one of the most prominent, successful law firms in the world, and the current U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York. Remember that. That's important. To be the next director of national intelligence and, importantly, to serve in my cabinet. Few people anywhere in the legal community are respected at the level of Jay. I encourage the U.S. Senate to confirm Jay as soon as possible. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, we've all been talking about Pulte and what Pulte's going to do and how long he'll be in there. Here's the question. We don't know how long it'll take for this guy to get confirmed. Will Pulte have a week? Will he have a month? Will he have 6 months? We don't know. Now, the Senate is all of a sudden, there are people coming out and celebrating this pick. I have a couple thoughts here. Was Pulte a rug pull? Or was Pulte brought in for a week or two just to smash things up? Before this guy takes over. Because Pulte was never going to get confirmed. That's obvious. Did Trump nominate Pulte knowing it was going to panic all these people, get them freaking out, so that he then could get the guy he actually wants? And the reason I think this might be who he actually wanted the whole time, because first of all, remember, Pulte is, it's exciting. He hates the deep state. He's very Trump loyal. He is the kind of guy who will just go in and bust stuff up. So that all was exciting. Obviously, all the deep staters hate him, so they're terrified of him. All that's exciting. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see Pulte in there for a while. But again, he would never get confirmed. Did Trump put Pulte in there to scare them so he could get this guy in actually, instead of nominating him first? And look at this. He talking about election integrity. This is a little clip with Clayton.
Of what's happening in California right now?
No, I actually can't, which I think is the problem. You raised this about election integrity, which I think is the point.
That's what I'm watching it, and are any of the things we're hearing about, like thousands of votes all for the same person, is any of that true, or is that just this sort of conspiracy? Like 100% for the socialist candidate versus the others? Is any of that true?
Well, look, we had a problem, a deep problem with voting in America. We had race-based discrimination around voting that was identified. We had the Voting Rights Act. It was all about access, making sure that people were not denied access. There was a second element to it, which was election integrity, making sure that once everybody has access, that their vote actually counts, that it's not being diluted by illegal voting or shenanigans and the like. I think we've done, a pretty darn good job on access. I don't hear anybody claiming that they don't have access to the ballot box. What we've done.
You hear politicians saying that it's Jim Crow disenfranchisement.
But no evidence, right? We have groups dedicated to making sure that people have access. Tons of money dedicated to it. Laws and laws that my office enforces, other offices enforce to make sure that people. On the integrity side, we're doing an absolutely terrible job.
This guy this is exactly what Trump wants long term, is clean up the elections. And this guy seems to have a great understanding of how to do that and how bad they are. Now, here's a very interesting Q post about it. Trump nominated current U.S. State's Attorney for the Southern District of New York as our next Director of National Intelligence. Same SDNY that's been at the center of everything. Weiner, Clinton Foundation, Epstein, Ukraine, and more. All of this, SDNY was right there, and now he just nominated the U.S. Attorney from there to be ODNI. Guys, this is a masterstroke. And what he did is because Pulte was there and everybody's scared of Pulte, now they're all like, yeah, this guy looks great. I don't think they're thinking it through. But this guy should skate through the Senate because they don't want Pulte in there. They're terrified of Pulte, so they'll deal with this guy. This is very interesting. But look at this breakdown. SDNY, importance of control, jurisdiction, Weiner evidence collection, Clinton Foundation, Epstein evidence collection. Remember Pam Bondi was when she first came in, her and Kash Patel had to go to SDNY to get the files because the FBI agents there wouldn't turn them over. So they went to SDNY to go get them and force them to turn them over. That happened at the very beginning of Trump's term. Ukraine. All of this. And the guy in charge of it, the U.S. attorney from this district is now going to be ODNY. I mean, my God, folks, this makes perfect sense. This is the perfect person to take over for Tulsi. He's been around all of this. He's been seeing it, and now he'll have access to all the bigger stuff. I mean, this is awesome. And because Trump, it's clear he wasn't going to get Pulte through, this is a wonderful turnover. So with what's going to happen with Pulte, I don't know. He's supposed to start on Tuesday. Will the Senate between now and Tuesday rush Pulte through? I doubt it. They're lazy. Unless they're absolutely desperate. So he's going to have a little bit of time in there. He's going to have a little time. So when he comes in, well, he's already been authorized to clean house. Is he just going to go in there, fire a bunch of people, maybe drop some bombshells, make a mess, and then this guy gets to come in and be the savior when he's exactly what we need? This is going to be great. I'm very excited to see how this goes down. But this seems like Trump, again, playing some 45D chess, and I don't like to throw that out lightly because I don't like to be the person who says who acts like Trump is some godly, crazy figure who, sees all. But I got to say, man, the dude's a genius. Because this is really good stuff. Oh, yeah. And guess where Maduro went, too. Wow. So X22 made this real quick, and I think it's great. Trump said directly, when we release the full files, you're not going to believe how crooked 2020 was. We have things you won't believe. We are more than ready. Timing's everything. He's waiting until close to the midterm, so the deep state has zero time to adjust their cheating strategy. California fraud happening in real time, plus Fulton County, plus Maricopa County, plus classified files all at once. Is this what's starting now? That's the question. Or is it going to be the SDNY guy who comes in? But it's very interesting to me that today Tulsi releases about the biolabs. Yesterday, the same day he announced the Iran deal, he announces the new ODNI nomination. And then also today, they just dropped more UFO files. What is happening? All of this at once? Here's orbs in the pond, as they say it. This is a video they just released. Whatever. It's not a great phone, but this was captured on an iPhone by a private citizen. Says below October 2024 in northern United States, hovering above a pond, luminous object resembled plasma-like sphere, changing shape and luminosity. So, but they just jumped a bunch of these at war.gov.ufo. So we're getting more and more declass. And so while all this is going on, man, somebody's freaked out. Somebody's scared because look, somebody just sent Trump a message And they did it in a very public way. On the lawn in Washington, D.C., National Mall, 8647, traced in the grass. 8647. And I'm investigating this right now. But again, you think any of this is, I mean, this is a bit like, this is not easy to do, especially with all the security there. So somebody covered why they got this mowed into the ground. And interesting timing, isn't it? As Trump's declassifying all this, as the Iran war might be coming to an end, City of London scrambling, deep state getting hit back, and all of a sudden we get 8647 at the National Mall. Wild. I think they're trying to fight back and send a little message of how scared they are. Now, this is a very interesting post, and I'm not saying I agree with it all, but I want it out there because I do think it's something to think about. The timing. June 11th, Pentagon evacuated. I didn't even get to cover that yesterday. There was all kinds of weird pathogens. Apparently, people showed up in hazmat suits in the air conditioning and cleared out the Pentagon on the same day. The Iran deal, the same day as ODNI, the day before declass. My God, folks, things are ramping up. Pentagon evacuated. They told it was false alarm. Hazmat sensor triggered on floors at house skiff level intelligence archives. Multiple floors, hours of lockdown, no hazard found. You don't evacuate the Pentagon for a sensor glitch. You evacuate the Pentagon when you're moving something out. That's an interesting theory. The same day, Trump declares the war's over. A war that lasted 100 days. Ended in one phone call, signed by the weekend. We'll see about that, but it could be. Entire military industrial complex blindsided. No one in Congress briefed. No committee approved it. One man decided. Same day, Jay Clayton nominated to lead all U.S. intelligence. Former Wall Street enforcer, not a general, not a spy, a man who knows where the money went. It's all economic, isn't it? I've said it many times. It's an economic war. 3 events, one day, not coincidence, sequence. Senior Pentagon official, retired December 2025, 31 years of service, says, "What I can tell you is that non-standard continuity of government protocols were activated on the morning of June 11th. I received confirmation from 2 sources still inside. There's not drill resignation to transfer designation. Assets being relocated to secure facilities built between 17 and 19 during first term. Infrastructure has been waiting. What's happening now was planned before most of these people took their current positions." Now, this is a trust me, bro. I'm not gonna lie about that. It's anonymous, so I can't verify this, but I can verify that all these things have happened in the last 2 days. Very interesting. He says, planned before they took their positions. FBI operations seized $8 billion in cryptocurrency last week. You know what they named it? Operation Blackout. That's not a name you give to a fraud case. That's a name you give to a transition. 127,000 Bitcoin seized. This happened last week. 300 arrests, 3 continents. Accounts they drained were not random scammers. They were channels, funding channels. Same channels been kept certain people in power for 30 years. The money is gone. Now, we know this is true as they've been pulling money from USAID, going after Bessent has captured all the money coming in and out of Iran. They've captured the money for SPLC and all these NGOs. We know this has been happening. The money funding Antifa, intelligence being transferred, wars are ending, machines being turned off. Now, this is where, we'll just have to wait and see if any of this comes to fruition. But this post is asserting, and June 17th, 5 days from now, June 29th, CERN goes dark. July 4th will be 250 years. Windows, 23 days. Everything that needs to happen will happen inside this window you were told to watch. Now, we'll see. We'll see. But, maybe this guy knows something. That is very interesting, though, all the timing. And I tend to agree that there's a lot of weird stuff happening all at once. So, we'll see. But this tells me they're panicking. 8647. Somebody's big mad. Somebody's trying to send a message to President Trump. And the timing is not coincidence. As Tulsi dropping bombs, the new ODNI guy SDNY, all this stuff. I mean, all at once. Iran, all this in the last 2 days. So something is happening. And I think it definitely looks towards something good. But we'll have to see how it all plays out. I'll do my best to cover it as we go forward. But guys, in my estimation, this definitely is like, it tells me that all those things we've been hoping for, the arrest, the exposure, it's all starting to bubble to the surface, and it looks like it's all planned to really ramp up in the next few weeks.